I was standing in the dark living room when I heard my father say the word failure. I had lived 28 years on this earth, but I had never heard that word so clearly as I did that night. It was not because he said it louder than usual. It was because he said it to our landlord while explaining why they needed more time to pay the rent. I was standing behind the wall, listening to my father talk about his failure of a son as if I did not exist. Maybe he was right. Maybe I really was a failure. But something inside me refused to accept it. Before we dive into what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see what happens when the people who doubt you become the ones who need you most. Trust me, you will want to stick around for this. I am Ernest, 28 years old. I have been living with my parents in a 2-bedroom rental house in a suburb of Portland, Oregon. My room was the small one that used to be a storage closet. My father, Walter, is 62. He worked at a shipyard for 37 years before retiring last year. My mother, Dorothy, is 59. She has been a cashier at the local supermarket for 20 years. Then there is my older brother, Gregory, 35 years old, a senior engineer living in Seattle with his wife, Linda, and their 2 kids. Gregory is the golden child, the one who did everything right. I graduated from the University of Oregon 6 years ago with a Bachelor in Business Administration. My GPA was 3.4. Not outstanding, but decent. I wanted to work in property management or real estate. After graduation, things did not go as planned. I worked as a sales associate at an electronics store for 1 year before I quit because the workplace was toxic. Then I tried being an insurance agent for 8 months, but it did not fit my personality. After that, I landed an administrative assistant position at a law firm where I stayed for 1.5 years until they laid me off due to budget cuts. That was 4 months ago. Since then, I have been unemployed, searching for work in property management. I did not sit around doing nothing. I completed an online certificate in property management from Portland Community College. I attended networking events every week. I sent out more than 50 job applications in 3 months. I got 3 interviews, but no offers. To contribute, I did odd jobs around the neighborhood. Mowing lawns, helping neighbors move walking dogs. I made about $400 to $500 a month and gave my parents $300 of it. The morning routine in our house was always the same. I would eat cereal at the kitchen table. My father would read the newspaper without looking up and say something like, "Gregory just got promoted again. Senior engineer now." My mother would add, "He bought Linda a new car for her birthday." Imagine that. When I tried to tell them about completing my certificate, my father would ignore me. In the evenings, I would wash the dishes, and my mother would walk past me with a deep sigh. "I hope you find something soon," she would say. "We cannot keep doing this forever." She never said it directly, but the message was clear. I was a burden. Every week, Gregory would call home. My parents would light up with smiles asking about the grandkids. When they talked to me, the only question was, "Did you find a job yet?" When I mentioned my plans or dreams, they would look at each other with expressions full of doubt. Last Thanksgiving, Gregory came home with his family. Everyone praised him. I sat at the end of the table feeling invisible. Then came the first real crack. On a Wednesday, at the beginning of the month, I had a job interview with a small property management company. I prepared carefully. Press Suit reviewed my resume, researched the company. The interview lasted 45 minutes. The hiring manager, a woman named Linda, seemed impressed. I drove home at 3 in the afternoon, feeling excited. My father was watching television. My mother was preparing dinner. I walked into the kitchen and said the interview went really well. I think I have a good chance. My father did not turn around. His eyes stayed on the television. He made a sound. Mmm. My mother kept chopping onions. That is nice, dear. No questions. No curiosity. I stood there holding my resume folder, feeling the excitement drain out of me. I tried again. They said they would call me by the end of the week. My father finally spoke. Do not get your hopes up. You know how these things go. My mother said quietly, your father is right. Just be realistic, Ernest. I went upstairs and sat on my bed. I looked at the certificate hanging on the wall. It felt meaningless. The rejection from the company would hurt, but the indifference from my parents hurt more. They did not believe in me. They never had. I tried to push through it. Maybe when I get the job, they will see. Friday came. An email arrived from Linda. We decided to move forward with another candidate. I read it 3 times, hoping I had misread something. I sat at a Starbucks not wanting to go home right away. I finally went back at 6 in the evening. My parents were already eating dinner. They always ate at 5:30 without waiting for me. Leftover meatloaf and mashed potatoes sat on the stove. I heated them up in silence. My father broke the quiet. So, did they call? I answered they sent an email. I did not get it. He nodded without surprise. Figured. My mother said, what did we tell you? I tried to defend myself. I was qualified. My interview was strong. My father raised his voice. Then why did you not get it, Ernest? Maybe you are not as qualified as you think. It was the first time he had said something that direct. His words felt like a slap. The days after that became tense. My father talked more about Gregory. Your brother never had these problems. He knew what he wanted and went after it. My mother said, maybe you should lower your standards. Try retail again. At least it is something. I tried to explain that I was building a career, not just taking any job. My father shot back, career. You cannot have a career without a job, son. In the middle of the month, our landlord, Mrs. Patterson, sent a notice. The rent was increasing from $1,200 to $1,450 starting next month. My parents panicked. My father was retired and living on Social Security and a small pension. My mother worked part-time, making about $1,100 a month. Their budget was already tight. Now, they had to find another $250 every month. They sat at the kitchen table doing calculations. I offered to help. I can pick up more odd jobs, give you more money. My father looked frustrated. Odd jobs, Ernest. You are 28 years old. You should have a real job by now. Each day after that, my parents grew colder toward me. My father stopped talking to me unless necessary. My mother maintained civility, but without warmth. I felt like a stranger in my own home. I kept job hunting, but each rejection added another layer of shame. 3 weeks after that first rejection, everything exploded. It was a Thursday night. I had gone to a networking event downtown. The event ended at 9. I took the bus home and arrived at 10:15. Usually the house would be dark by then. My parents went to bed early. But that night, the lights were still on. When I walked in, my parents were sitting on the couch with serious expressions. Hey, I said, you are still up. My father said, sit down, Ernest. We need to talk. His tone made me nervous. I sat in the armchair across from them. My father started. Mrs. Patterson came by today. Talked about the rent increase. I know, I said. I am sorry about that. He continued. She said if we cannot afford it, she needs to know. She has other people interested in renting this place. My mother added, we have been doing the math. We can afford it, but barely. We have to cut back on everything. Silence filled the room. My father looked at me. This is because of you. I blinked. What? He leaned forward. We need this 2-bedroom place because of you. If you were not here, we could move to a 1-bedroom apartment. Save $300 a month. I felt stunned. I am trying. I am looking every day. My father stood up and started pacing. Trying. You have been trying for 6 years. Ernest. 6 years since graduation. And what do you have to show for it? Nothing. I stood up too. That is not fair. The job market is tough. I have had bad luck. My father turned red. Bad luck. No, son. This is not about luck. This is about you. You are a failure. The word hung in the air. Failure. I felt it like a physical blow. My mother spoke softly. Walter, maybe we should stop. My father cut her off. No, Dorothy. He needs to hear this. We have been too soft on him. Compared to his brother Ernest, is a complete disappointment. I stood there with my voice shaking. I know I am not Gregory, but I am doing my best. My father shouted. Your best is not good enough. I cannot afford to keep you anymore. You are 28. You should be on your own. Silence fell again. My father took a breath and said the words I will never forget. Pack your things and get out. Tonight. Go sleep in the gutter if you want. Maybe that will teach you some responsibility. I froze. I looked at my mother, hoping she would say something. She looked away, with tears in her eyes, but said nothing. I realized they meant it. They were not just angry. They were not speaking out of frustration. They wanted me gone. Something inside me broke, but something else hardened. I did not argue. I did not cry. I did not beg. I just smiled. It was a strange smile that seemed to confuse them. Okay, I said. I will leave. My voice was calm and resolved. My father blinked, surprised by my calmness. What, you heard me? I said. I will pack and leave. Tonight. My mother started to speak. Ernest, maybe we can talk about this in the morning. I cut her off. No. You want me gone? I am gone. I went upstairs to my room. 1 duffel bag, 1 backpack. I packed quickly. 5 shirts, 3 pairs of jeans, underwear, socks. My laptop charger, important documents. Birth certificate, social security card, diplomas, certificates. Toiletries. Phone charger, headphones. 1 photograph from my college graduation where I was smiling. I looked around the room one last time. The certificate on the wall. I took it down, rolled it up, and put it in my backpack. 23 minutes total. I walked downstairs with my bags. My parents were still in the living room now, looking uncertain. My mother asked, "Where will you go?" I said, "I will figure it out." I always do. My father said my name, Ernest. I stopped at the door without turning around. You called me a failure. Maybe you are right. Or maybe I just needed the right motivation. I opened the door and walked out into the night. The door closed behind me. I stood on the porch. It was midnight. October air was cold. I took a deep breath. I did not look back. I started walking. I walked 4 blocks and found an all-night diner. I ordered coffee and sat in a booth. I opened my laptop and searched for rooms for rent in Portland. I checked my bank account. $847. I texted my college roommate Kyle. Hey man, long story. Can I crash at your place for a few days? He replied 20 minutes later. Dude, of course. What happened? I typed back. Tell you when I get there. Kyle lived in a studio apartment near Powell Boulevard. He was a software developer who worked from home. He offered me his couch. I arrived at 2 in the morning. Kyle made instant ramen, and we talked. I explained everything. He said, "Man, that is rough. But honestly, maybe it is what you needed. Stay as long as you want." The next morning, I woke up at 6. I did not want to burden Kyle. I made a plan. Priority 1 was to find a job immediately. I could not be choosy. Priority 2 was to find a cheap room. Priority 3 was to prove my parents wrong. I opened a spreadsheet and listed every contact from networking events. 67 people. I sent personalized messages to all of them. I am actively seeking a position in property management. Available to start immediately. I applied to every job posting I could find, even entry-level positions, even if I was slightly underqualified. I visited staffing agencies. One agency told me we might have something. A property management company needs an assistant. Starting pay is low, but there is opportunity to learn. I said I will take it. When can I interview? They set it up for Wednesday, 5 days after I left home. The company was Harrison Property Group. The office was in the Pearl District. Small, but professional. The owner, Mr. David Harrison, was 53 years old. He managed more than 300 rental properties in the Portland metro area with his wife. The interview started with him asking, "Tell me about yourself." I decided to be honest. I graduated 6 years ago. I have worked various jobs, but none felt right. I completed a property management certificate. 5 days ago, my parents kicked me out because they thought I was going nowhere. I am here to prove them wrong. Mr. Harrison paused and studied me. Why property management? I answered, because it combines business people skills and problem solving. I like the idea of managing something tangible, helping people find and maintain homes. He said the pay is $16 an hour. Long hours. Lots of tenant complaints, paperwork inspections. Not glamorous. I said I do not need glamorous. I need a chance. Mr. Harrison looked at me for a long moment. You have dealt with rejection. That is important in this job. You seem hungry. I like that. When can you start? I said tomorrow. He smiled. Monday, 9 a.m. Sharp. We shook hands. I walked out and called Kyle. I got it. I got the job. For the first time in weeks, I felt hope. Monday morning, I arrived at 8:45. The office was small. Mr. Harrison, his wife Julia, who handled accounting, and 2 other assistants. My desk had a computer phone and files. The first week was training. I learned the software system, how to process rent payments, how to handle maintenance requests, how to communicate with tenants and landlords. I stayed late every day, learning everything I could. I took extensive notes. I asked smart questions. By Thursday, I was handling tasks independently. Julia told David he is a fast learner. In the second week on Tuesday, I was assigned a new task. Prepare rent increase notices for 5 properties. The process involved reviewing market rates, drafting letters, and preparing documents for landlords to sign. I reviewed the property list. The third property was 2847 Maple Street. My heart stopped. That was my parents' address. I checked again. The landlord name was Patricia Patterson. It was correct. I did not say anything to Mr. Harrison. I professionally prepared all the documents, including the one for 2847 Maple Street. The rent increase was from $1,200 to $1,450, the same amount my father had mentioned. My hands shook slightly as I typed the address, but I finished the work. Thursday morning, Mr. Harrison called me into his office. Mrs. Patterson wants a site visit for 2847 Maple Street before finalizing the rent increase. We are going Friday afternoon. I want you to come and learn the process. I said, of course. I kept my voice neutral. I knew what this meant. I would see my parents. Thursday night, I barely slept. I was not nervous. I was ready. I did not know how my parents would react, but I knew I was different now. I had a job, a purpose, dignity. I was not the failure living in the back room anymore. Friday morning, I wore my best outfit. Khaki pants, white button-down shirt, navy tie, dress shoes. Kyle asked, "Big day?" I said, "You have no idea." At 2 in the afternoon, Mr. Harrison, Mrs. Patterson, and I drove to the property. Mrs. Patterson talked about her other properties and her plans. I took notes and stayed professional. We arrived at 2:30. My childhood home looked smaller somehow. The grass needed mowing. I used to do that. Mr. Harrison parked in the driveway. The three of us walked to the front door. Mrs. Patterson knocked. The door opened. My mother, Dorothy, stood there. She saw Mrs. Patterson and put on a professional smile. Then she saw Mr. Harrison, and the smile stayed. Then she saw me. The smile disappeared. Her face went pale. Earnest. Her voice was barely a whisper. My father, Walter, appeared behind her. "Who is it, Dorothy?" He looked at the door and saw me. He froze. I watched emotions flash across his face. Shock, confusion, shame. Awkward silence filled the air. Mr. Harrison broke it. "Good afternoon. I am David Harrison from Harrison Property Group. We manage Mrs. Patterson's properties. This is my assistant, Ernest. We are here to discuss the rent adjustment and inspect the property." His voice was professional and courteous. My father stared at me. Assistant, I met his eyes. My voice was calm. "Hello. May we come in?" My mother stepped aside. We entered. The living room I knew so well now felt foreign. Mrs. Patterson and Mr. Harrison sat on the couch. I stood slightly behind them, holding a folder. My parents sat in the chairs across from us, still in shock. Mr. Harrison began the business discussion. "As you know, the rent will increase to $1,450 starting next month. We wanted to do a walkthrough to ensure everything is in good condition." Mrs. Patterson added, "I like to maintain my properties well. Any issues we should address?" My mother stammered, "No, everything is fine." My father could not stop looking at me. I handed documents to my father. "You will need to sign here and here, acknowledging the new terms." My voice was businesslike without personal emotion. My father took the papers. His hands were shaking slightly. "Ernest, we need to talk." I cut him off gently. "Please review the terms and let us know if you have questions. You can contact our office Monday through Friday 9 to 5. Mr. Harrison and Mrs. Patterson stood up to walk through the house. I followed, taking notes. My mother trailed behind, trying to catch my eye. I focused on the work. We checked the bathroom, the bedrooms, including my old room, which was storage, again, the kitchen, the back door. Everything was in order. The inspection took 15 minutes. We returned to the living room. My father had signed the documents. Mr. Harrison said, "Everything looks good. Thank you for your cooperation." Mrs. Patterson said, "I appreciate your tenancy." We moved toward the door. My mother suddenly spoke. "Ernest, can we talk? Just for a minute?" I paused and looked at Mr. Harrison. He said we will wait in the car. He and Mrs. Patterson walked out. I turned to face my parents. Silence. My father spoke first. You look good. The job. You got a real job. I said yes. 3 weeks ago. The day after you kicked me out. My mother had tears forming in her eyes. Ernest, we are so sorry. We should never have said those things. I said you were frustrated. I understand. My father said no. We were cruel. Calling you a failure, telling you to sleep in the gutter. There is no excuse. I nodded slowly. You are right. There is not. My mother asked, can you forgive us? I said, eventually maybe. But not today. My father asked, are you okay? Where are you staying? I answered, I am staying with a friend. I am fine. Better than fine, actually. My mother said, will you come back? We miss you. I said no. I will not be coming back. This is not my home anymore. My father flinched at those words. I continued, but I do not hate you. I just needed you to believe in me, and you did not. So I had to believe in myself. I checked my watch. I need to go. Mr. Harrison is waiting. I moved to the door. My mother called out, will we see you again? I said, maybe. When I am ready. I left. In the car, I got into the back seat. Mr. Harrison started driving. After a few minutes, he said, those are your parents. It was a statement, not a question. I said yes. Mrs. Patterson said, oh my. Mr. Harrison said, you did not tell me. I replied, I did not think it was relevant. The job needed to be done. Personal feelings should not interfere with professionalism. Mr. Harrison glanced at me in the rearview mirror with a small smile. That is exactly right. That is why I hired you, Ernest. Integrity. In the following weeks, my parents called me many times. At first, I let the calls go to voicemail. After 1 week, I called them back. The conversations were short. My mother was emotional, apologizing repeatedly. My father was awkward. He was not used to apologizing. I accepted their apologies, but maintained distance. I told them I need time. 3 months later, I had my own apartment. It was a small studio, but it was mine. I got promoted to senior assistant at Harrison Property Group. My pay increased to $21 an hour with benefits. Kyle helped me move. He was proud of his friend. I invited my parents to see the apartment. They came with housewarming gifts. It was uncomfortable at first, but they tried. My father said, I am proud of you, son. Those were words I had waited years to hear, but they mattered less now. I had learned something important. Validation from others is not as important as validation from yourself. Today, I maintain a relationship with my parents. We have dinner once a month. It is cordial and respectful, but different. I do not need their approval anymore. They see that I have changed and grown stronger. Sometimes my mother cries, regretting the lost time. I reassure her. It is okay. I am okay. And I truly am. One evening, I sat in my apartment, looking at the certificate hanging on the wall. I thought about the journey. From being called a failure and sleeping on Kyle's couch to becoming a professional with my own place. Only 3 weeks made the difference. Not because of luck, because I finally had to believe in myself. There was no safety net, no one to fall back on, only my determination. Sometimes the people who love us hurt us the most, not from hate, but from their own fears and disappointments. My parents saw their own failures reflected in me. They wanted me to have a stable life like Gregory. When I struggled, they panicked. Their cruelty came from love twisted by fear. I understand this now. Understanding does not erase the pain, but it provides closure. Sometimes the people who push you away are the ones who teach you to stand on your own. I do not resent my parents anymore. In a strange way, I thank them. Because in trying to break me, they forced me to build myself into someone stronger than they ever imagined I could be, and maybe stronger than I ever imagined too. The gutter they told me to sleep in, I never made it there. Instead, I found a foundation to build my life on. And it turns out that foundation was inside me all along. I just needed the right push to find it. Have you ever had someone doubt you, only to prove them wrong later? Drop your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Remember, your worth is not determined by what others think of you. It is determined by what you think of yourself. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the strength to believe in yourself, even when no one else does.